Welcome to the live. We're going to do future chat only. I'm only talking about the future because we don't talk about the future nearly enough. Like love and the truth, we don't talk about these things nearly enough. In fact, we've gotten to the point of barely talking about them at all. So I'm just going to increase that myself by talking about the truth and the future. And what those things have in common. The truth, goodness, the future, Jesus, peace, love. How all these are really the same thing. There's a totality of humanity, most of which is the future, if any. I mean, we have to avoid not having a future, but then the processes and the changes we make to avoid not having a future are what lead to a eternal future, or a what we would call very much longer future. I guess you could say eternal future, why not? So connecting to that eternal future where humanity does survive and does exist, we should be able to end the threats to humans and things. It's got very sad thinking, well, what if we don't do that? Or I just felt that tinge of sadness about how it's not guaranteed or anything. It certainly feels like there's something we need to do. And in this case, I've decided the thing we need to do is have something like a prayer, have something like a connection to the goddess, to the future, to Jesus, to nature, to humanity, to the truth. And when we have to accommodate or address the network of lies, then we're not really getting into the truth like we can. We're not really giving the truth a chance at all. We're not ever speaking truth. We're addressing lies. And the future, we don't have those lies. In the future, from a future perspective, these things are history. War, Trumpism, all this evil that we're going through right now, that's all history. So we can speak from that perspective, or we can bring out that perspective by recognizing it, especially recognizing that there's millions of years of it in the future. There's been millions of years of humanity so far. But a lot of it recently, at least thousands of years, has been bad. If we can escape this bad period, if we can get to peace and harmony, end these wars, end all war, we're never going to go back to war. It's just a transition phase that we have to test out of. We have to escape. We might as well do it with these wars now. These might as well be the last wars. I was saying this for a very long time, and I wish I, was right or would have succeeded. That, the war in Syria was the last war. Was when I really started talking about things in these terms. That's an odd question. Sure. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. The future is peaceful. The future is past war and past the tyrants that are currently making the wars. We may already be in a post-Netanyahu, post-Putin world. I heard a rumor that Putin's already dead, but Netanyahu seems pretty verifiably dead. Thanks. You look like somebody too. Yeah, I support rights. You said something about trans rights, I think. Yes, I support people's rights. I mean, that's the other option, anarchy. So what I'm talking about is a future where humanity exists for a long time and we're in peace. It's a post-oil, post-war, post-Epstein class world. So we're going to go ahead and invoke that world, have that world occur for us now, connect to that world. Good morning. We're going to go ahead and replace patriarchy, Christianity, war, and Trumpism. You really have to replace all those things at once. You end patriarchy and Christianity and war and Trumpism with the same thing. It's good. This is the life. You're witnessing it. And what we replace it with is the Church of Judas. So there was a fake religion, Christianity, and we replace that with the Church of Judas. And we do that. By doing that, we end war. We end Trumpism. We end patriarchy. So I'm going to light a candle up, at least for a minute. We'll see if it provides enough light to see by. Okay, guys. There's some things we need to talk about from the future. Future things include peace. Okay? Everything's free. Okay? Thanks. In the future, we have peace and everything's free. Okay? In the future, we have peace, love, and everything is free. Hold on a second. Do you guys know what future I'm talking about? Does this ring a bell? Does it remind you anything? Oh, good question. How far in the future? Everyone guess how far in the future. Okay? You have to get, yeah, it's Jesus, it's Judas in this case. It's Jesus too. It's not like Jesus left. It's not like Jesus is like Elvis. Jesus didn't leave the building. Okay, guys. Guess how long? 2 years. Okay, blink, blink. You're on my level. Yeah, in 2 years. In 2 years, we end all war. Within 2 years, let's put it that way. It could be sooner than that. We end all war and basically monetary systems. No, tremendous hell doesn't exist. It's just extremely embarrassing for people like Netanyahu when they go to the afterlife and they see all the kids they killed. It's extremely embarrassing to show up in the afterlife having killed hundreds of thousands of children and babies and stuff and everybody, and then to see them all there. That's extremely embarrassing. That's a apex embarrassment. Well, the problem is not religion. The problem is Christianity and patriarchy. Patriarchy's corrupted other religions too, but the extent to which patriarchy's corrupted Christianity is why it's a trap religion that needs to be replaced. It gets replaced by Jesus and the Church of Judas. That's the future. So what we do is we replace all the churches with the Church of Judas. This is also going to end war. We replace God with the goddess, because the God is fake. And we replace the Antichrist, Trump, with Jesus. Jesus is the opposite of the Antichrist, Trump. So once we do that in the Christian religion, it could have some effects on other religions. Other religions might get like a hair to do the same thing. But that's not my business. My business is replacing the Christian religion. The trap is Christianity. Christianity was a trap religion. But we replace it with the Church of Judas. Yeah, the Church of Judas is like Gnostic. Yeah. Right now we're talking about the future in general, though. We are replacing the churches. We are replacing Christianity. We're talking about the future in general being peace, love, the truth, when we don't have to discuss lies anymore, when lies are a historical study. So we're looking for people who can understand the future. And, obviously some people can't understand the future. So we'll just be patient for the people who can understand the future. If you can understand the future, if you're capable of hearing what I say about the future, or you have anything yourself to say about the future, if you've ever thought about the future, go ahead and join the chat. The people in the chat currently don't matter. I can block them if you want, but reality. I mean, you're right about you mentioned a bunch of gods. I don't know what you have against Buddha. And then you mentioned a bunch of gods you're probably not very familiar with, so I don't know why you're so against them. But you don't mention the goddess. The goddess is real. I'm not going to really argue with you about gods, but the goddess is real. And you're so kind of like, atheists are cool. You're half right. Your criticism's cool. But that God's not just an obstacle to reality, that God is an obstacle to the goddess. And you're obstructed as well. You just can take the next step. Just discover the goddess. The goddess is real. The goddess is good. Atheists are half right. You've done some of your homework. Now it's time to show up in class. Are you ready? Sorry that every single person in the chat is a troll. That's where you come in. There's a cat here. You can come in if you haven't spoken up yet. You're welcome to speak up, and then the trolls won't matter, okay? Again, we're only really having future chat. We're only talking to people who can understand the future. Oh, did you show up, Turtle Duck? Welcome. No, I didn't recognize anybody in the chat yet. Guys, so what we do is we manifest better people in the future. We could become better people ourselves, but the important thing is to contact better people. We have access to people on the internet and other spirits and beings and stuff, whether you believe in that or not, we do. Well, invite them in. You can do it too. Invite your type of people in. Let's see what happens. What are your people going to be like in the future? I know what my people are going to be like in the future. The people and beings that I associate with will be like in the future. So think about it. Invite your future people to join you here in the chat and see what they have to say to you and what you have to say to them. Hello, any main characters in the chat or future people in the chat? Well, presence is eternal if a future exists. If a future doesn't exist, then presence becomes some other type of presence. So here we go. Mr. Roberts is from the future. Mr. Object is from the future. Welcome, Mr. Object. Thank you for visiting our current time. Please embark anything you'd like to say upon us. Sorry about the trolls in the chat, guys. They don't count, okay? But the future person does. Mr. Object is from the future. He knows what it's like. Can you confirm, Mr. Object, the future has no war, no Trumpism, no money? There are historical artifacts. Well, oozes. I just want to let people know that they don't represent the MAGA Trump Putiners don't speak for anyone except for Putin. So, why they're so dedicated to doing it is, again, that's all concerns of the past. We're really only having a future chat with people who understand the future. So, oozes, thanks for being here. Mr. Object, thanks for visiting from the future. Yeah, I'm the most anti-Trump there is. I'm right here with Jesus. Trump is the Antichrist, and Jesus is the opposite of that. And I'm completely Team Jesus. So, I mean, look at what they have the power to do: lie, right? Addressing lies just it crowds out the truth. We can just talk about the truth, right? Let's talk about the truth. The truth is the future is peaceful. The future is loving and good and kind and all this harmony and stuff. Everybody gets along. These people don't exist. These things don't exist anymore. These trolls, these the problems. The problems don't exist anymore. Ghost, nice to meet you. Don't worry about them. It's like, you seen the movie Labyrinth, or do you understand like fairy tales and stuff? They're just trolls. Just like step over them into, we have a magical space here that's free of them. They're just like a filter, a fence, a border. Yeah, the trolls are here to test resilience, to distract. The trolls are here because genuinely, if it's possible to engage in lies, this is like what's happened to our news and media and stuff. They always have to address lies, right? They always have to report on what the lies are, and then they kind of like gives a little slight lip service to the fact that the truth is the truth and the lies are the opposite of that. But mostly you're just dragged into the lies. So we're not going to get dragged into the lies. We're just going to talk about the truth. The truth is the future is peace. The future is love. The future is we all get along. The future is racism is a relic. The future is sexism is a relic. The future is Trumpism is a relic. It doesn't exist in an active sense in the future. The future can start today. The future can start tomorrow. But like we're a lot closer to it than people think. Did you know that trolls make the channel grow very fast? I mean, I don't. You call this fast? I've had trolls forever. I've only had like regular people, like what I don't know, I want to call you regular people. I've only had exceptional people to talk to. Occasionally, like up to five people, I think, at a time, out of hundreds of fucking trolls and just nothings or whatever you want to call it. Um, yeah, I mean, there's different people. There's probably been 50 worthwhile people I've talked to in a last year. Now, before this last year, it was nobody. For 6 months even. Whenever I did lives more than 6 months ago, it was just trolls. There was nobody worth talking to ever. Maybe very rarely one person. Hello, Kanye West. Nice to see you again. Thanks for denouncing Nazism. That was very um, heroic of you. I've been giving you a lot of shit for a long time. And now that it's settled in that you denounce Nazism, I appreciate you, Kanye. And thanks for coming back to the live. How do you know Jesus Christ looks like that? Hello, Joseph. Nice to see you again. Joseph's cool. Kanye's cool. I can't remember if anybody else is cool. But see, now here we go. Speak of speak of Jesus and he appears. Speak of the devil and they'll appear. But the point is, the good people are here. We've got, and everybody else, like, they count as like something to not have. Wait, Vinegar. The more trolls you have, the more YouTube shows your live stream to other thousands of people. Yeah, and out of those thousands of people and trolls, we'll get one or two good people. It's awesome. It's kind of slower than you might expect, but it is awesome. Hello, Sherry from Vancouver, BC, Canada. Hello, welcome. Ghost says, "What a chill guy." Did I read your name as Ghost? Oh, it is Ghost. Well, thank you, Ghost. You're catching me at a chill time because I'm able to focus on the future. The future imbibes us. Is that a word? The future imbues us. There's some word that the future does to us. It fills us all with peace and love and stuff because that's what the future is, right? There's no other future that's not super peace and love, right? Oh, yeah. Joseph says, I support the Great Spirit and Earth Mother. So yeah, we're definitely on the same team. That's why we have this like brotherhood or kinship between us. Kanye West says, I enjoy you speaking the truth and not letting the trolls stop you. Thank you, Kanye West. I enjoy you speaking the truth too and not letting the trolls stop you. Because it was trolls. There's an evil system that caught you up previously. And now that you're free, I think you can look back on it and see that it was an evil system. And you're a victim of it, but I'm glad you've been rescued from it. You're a valuable source to have on our side. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel, Sherry. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see Canadians here. Sorry about the... Joseph says, both are already of the feminine motherly love. Yeah, that's all that matters, dude. We can tell what's wrong with the patriarchy. That's why it gets completely replaced. God gets completely replaced by the goddess. The churches get completely replaced by the Church of Judas. And all this Trumpism gets completely replaced by good people. And all this war gets completely replaced by peace. Oh, I don't know. If you're not a troll, I maybe haven't met you yet. Jody girl, you don't seem familiar to me, so nice to meet you. Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to insult you. I've got a lot of trolls in here. I don't know if you just walked in, you didn't see all the trolls. You mentioned two people being cool, because yeah, those are the two that I recognize. I recognize a lot of trolls. First, that's not how you get viewers, by insulting them. Secondly, you're giving trolls all the attention. No, I wasn't talking to any of them. Zion War? Case in point, there are 30 religions based on the same book. Well, if you're talking about the Bible, they all get replaced. All those religions get replaced by the Church of Judas. The Gospel of Judas is kind of like the coda, the thing that ends Christianity. It does nothing to do with your sins. Yeah, exactly. Santeria is real. Be very careful. The goddess is the birth of the spirit and life. Yes, Joseph. Very much agreed. Hey, Sendoza. You speak about the Gospel of Judas. Yeah, I wrote a book about the Gospel of Judas. I can talk about it for quite some time. Have you heard anything about it before? I apologize if you're not a troll and I seem to indicate that there are only two people. I recognize two cool people in the chat. I welcome every other cool person into the chat as well, of course. Crystal. The Gospel of Judas is a prophecy of the future. Oh, welcome, Singesta. Don't know about the Book of James, but if there's highlights from it you would like to mention, I would like to hear about them. I think I know a little bit about them. Is it Orthodox? Is it accepted in the Orthodox churches but not in the Western? Okay, so the Gospel of Judas, let me fill you in. The Gospel of Judas is really the best proof that Jesus is real, but it also condemns all the churches. So the churches aren't going to let you know about it. In fact, they're going to do their best to suppress it, ignore it, or they don't know about it. Some of them don't know about it yet. So it's just a prophecy that Jesus gave to Judas. It's a secret conversation they had where Jesus, first of all, asks Judas to do what he did. So Judas doesn't disobey or betray Jesus or anything like that. None of that's true. And then he tells him, you're going to be hated for this for centuries, and it's going to be kept a secret. Obviously, we know both of those things came true. Then it's going to be revealed. Your side of the story will be revealed after centuries of everyone hating you. That came true. Most people don't know that, but that came true because they published the Gospel of Judas in 2006. So it's been about 20 years that it's been revealed, but most people don't know about it or talk about it. And then the final thing Jesus says to Judas is, your church will replace all their churches. That part hasn't even started happening yet, except for I've been talking about it on YouTube Lives and used to on TikTok and stuff. But anyway, welcome to the Church of Judas. Goddess bless you, Mary bless you, Mary bless you, Mary bless you, Jesus bless you, Judas bless you, I bless you, and bless yourself. This is the Gospel of Judas blessing that I came up with. That's not from the book or anything. That's just something I thought was appropriate. That's why the Catholic Church removed the Apostles' Works. Well, in the Catholic Church, as soon as this was published, the very next day, I think Pope Benedict, the very next day, Pope Benedict came out and said, well, no matter what you just recently heard, Judas is still a bad guy. So they actually took the trouble of addressing it and trying to deny it the first day, and then they've probably just not spoken about it since. Crystal says, so Judas is not a traitor, technically. Not at all. Yeah, he's not at all a traitor. Interesting, that makes a lot of sense when you think about it. I want to look into it more. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, you can check out my hashtag, the Church of Judas, or it's not the Church of Judas, it's just hashtag Church of Judas. And you'll see a lot of my content talking about it or talking about something tangentially related to it. Hopefully you'll get one about the content. I make a lot of videos, so apologize for that. If you love Jesus, say amen. Amen. For the fact is, Jesus knew the time on earth was limited because Jesus already served his purpose. Well, Jesus also seemed to know a lot of stuff. He not only knew what Judas needed to do, Jesus could have turned himself in, right? So he had Judas do it in order to be hated by the church, in order to be kept out of the church. Why is it important to keep Judas out of the church? Because the churches were going to go corrupt and do all this terrible stuff. Think about what organizations have done the worst stuff in human history. Pretty much they're all churches, right? They're all church related, Christianity related. If Jesus knew all that stuff was going to happen and he didn't stop it or have some type of plan or something, he would just be terrible. But he's not terrible, so he had a plan. And the plan is to replace all these churches. So the churches become a trap. The churches were a trap that, includes lots of good people, but those people are surrounding misled leaders. Some of them far more misled than others. But the churches are good people surrounding misled leaders. And we replace those misled leaders. We replace the churches themselves. And we replace those churches with Jesus. And the mechanism for replacing the churches with Jesus, peace, love, things like that, is Judas. They talk about being gay too. So, let me read comments. Thank you all for talking with me about it. Joseph says, another point is the story of the Magi and the interaction between the Magi and the fallen and the heavenly host, Solomon. Well, I don't know about that. You need to tell me more about that. That sounds like intriguing and unfamiliar to me. Sindojusta. Welcome, Sindojusta, by the way. Maybe Jesus had visions of the future with Joan way into the future. Yeah. No, that's described in the Gospel of Judas. In fact, it's all the other disciples that have the same dream. One night they have the same dream. Like when you hear about it, you can kind of tell it's real. So all these disciples have the same dream, and they're worried about the dream. Their dream has concerned them, and they all go to Jesus and ask him, what is the meaning of this dream? Now keep in mind, a lot of the stuff in the Gospel of Judas is just between Jesus and Judas. It's a secret conversation that only they have. Nobody else knows about it. But this is something Jesus is talking to all the disciples about. So this is apparently a conversation they all had, but none of them put it in their books, or it didn't make it into any of the versions of their books, their sides of the story that we heard. So they all have this scary dream, and they ask Jesus about it. What does our scary dream mean? We saw these things, these visions in our scary dream. And Jesus says, well, what you dreamed of is you. You dreamed of your churches. You dreamed of the churches you'll make in the future. You dreamed of these terrible things the churches will do in my name. And that's what you dreamed of. And just, having him tell them this kind of in advance didn't give them enough caution to avoid making mistakes, such as not obeying Mary. One of the things he told them to do was listen to Mary. But then they didn't do it. So it's like there's a place they turned away from Jesus's plan. And Jesus knew they were going to do it, and knew that their churches were going to therefore do all this terrible stuff. That's why he set Judas aside. That's why he made Judas hated by the churches, so that Judas would be outside of the churches, not responsible for any of the evil shit Judas did. Nobody who went on the Crusades worshipped Judas or respected or cared about Judas or had any connection to Judas. Nobody who did any, colonial imperial wars or colonization, extermination of other cultures and beliefs, you know, kidnappings, boarding schools, abuse, any of that stuff. Nobody who did any of that stuff had any regard for Judas. They all thought they were better than Judas, even as terrible as they were. Well, they were wrong. They were wrong in every way. And Judas comes back now to replace them, as is his right for being hated and kept out, outcast, and dismissed and misunderstood for centuries. Just like the goddess herself. Jesus is from the goddess. That's the whole reason why they have the ability to, why Judas has the ability to understand Jesus. And he doesn't fully understand Jesus. He's just way better than all the other male disciples. Mary probably fully understood Jesus a lot more than Judas did, but she wasn't allowed to lead because of the patriarchy. Also the part of the good people but misled leaders. We were taught to hate Judas, basically. Yeah, and Judas is a scapegoat. Just like the Jews, people always talk about the Jews killing Jesus when they had little to do with it compared to the Romans. But why do people scapegoat the Jews? Or why do people scapegoat Judas? To help to protect the Romans, So they're protecting the government. The governments keep doing this. The governments keep killing innocent people. Jesus was making a point with his life. And Judas is the way that we actually get the message 2,000 years later and replace all the churches. Don't forget, part of Jesus' prophecy is to replace all their churches. Replacing their churches does a lot. Two of the richest organizations in the world are the Catholic and the Mormon Church. And I'm sure some of the other branches of Christianity are pretty rich too. Think about what liquidating that wealth for reparations can do for communities around the world. They've amassed a lot of wealth. But it's just like we can do the similar thing with corporations. We can seize certain corporations and use them for good. Joseph Bearpaw is expressing something that's common. A warlock is an evil possessed male witch. Does not apply to all male witches. Witches just call themselves witches regardless of what gender they are. Any gender calls itself a witch if you're a witch. For instance, between a ritual of religion and a magic, this is Joseph again. For instance, between a ritual of religion and a magical incantation are both employing mystical beliefs to exert an outcome that they would want. Magic by in and of itself is not demonic by nature. Yeah, magic is just everything. Everything's really magic. It's kind of like, it's just, are you doing good magic or bad magic? Are you a good witch or a bad witch? You're not a witch at all is just a lack of understanding. God is a spirit to know. God is to talk to said spirit. Exactly. Warlock is just a male form of witch, but witch isn't itself something bad. Patriarchy made it bad. It's just a person who believes magic, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. Some people say warlock. In fact, you can win $10,000 from Christian Day if you can prove that warlock actually means what people say it means when they smear the term. But nobody really says it. I mean, very few people say it compared to all the people who say witch of all genders. Witch were women who were medicine women or did incantations and stuff. Yeah, or like all the women who did birth people. All the women who brought all the humans into existence until the last 100 years. That's how bad patriarchy got. Is it even took over midwifery. It's nice to see intelligent people talking in the comments. Well, if you have good comments, if you put an emoji in the chat, I'll consider reading your comments. Is really the rule around here. Because I do miss good people's comments sometimes because I don't recognize you. You said fuck Trump. I mean, I'm with you on that. Huh. Yeah, you seem drunk, I guess, honestly. Um, Thank you for spreading love and hope. You're doing well too. Jacoby, nice to meet you. I just have a rule here that if I miss somebody's comments, if you put an emoji in chat, I'll read your comments. Because, I mean, people don't write comments for nothing. Sometimes people do, but it says in the Bible, Net and YouTube censored this comment. I had to approve it. But it said in the Bible there are barely any mentions of good, powerful women. It's always a harlot, witch, evil woman. There are some good women in the New Testament who are like the followers of Jesus. Probably some of the best followers of Jesus are women in the New Testament. I don't really know that much about the Old Testament. Don't listen to the trolls. Oh, I don't. Thanks, Crystal. The more you guys write, the more I won't listen to them. Crystal says, don't listen to the trolls. You are speaking the truth, and people don't like the truth. It's a very important message that you are sharing. Thanks. It's essentially peace. If anything else I'm saying is confusing or sounds weird, what I'm really saying is peace, freedom, everything being free. These are things about the future that we can all look forward to and actually connect to and get to the future. Today, we can use this like magic to make the future. Oh, Vendetta's here. Hi, Vendetta. Nice to see you again. It's altered by the Vatican, yes. Joseph says, prior to written works like scrolls and other forms of language capture on papyrus or ink of well, spiritual magic was always there prior to the existence of Christianity. Yes, spiritual magic is always has and always will be a thing, and it's something we can all get into, even if we don't have a tradition. That's why I really want to encourage people to participate in the future, because the future is something just very basic in general, but we're still kind of like blocked from it. Like the past has a lot of rulership over us. What the MAGA movement means. But the future, the opposite of that, has a much greater like magnetism, a much greater power for sure. But we don't even think about it. So all you have to do is think about the future. I'm not going to tell you what the future is. Well, I mean, I'll tell you peace and love and things like that. But I'm not going to tell you what the future is as much as you can think about the future and it'll work on you. Just think about the future. Just imagine the future. Most of us don't do it. Hello, Wormy the Worm. I don't want to miss the good people's comments, so. Egyptian gods are real. Thank you, Godspeed. Saving Private at Yahoo. Credential commentary is here. This is going to be a classic live stream. We've got credential commentary here. I might have to turn the real light back on. This is classic. No, thanks, Jesus. We'll just keep the candle on. Okay. You don't ever read about high priestess, magician, women, etc., but you have elder this, king, judges, priest. The common Bible is very patriarchal. Well, they made it that way. Think about it. The same people who wanted to protect their animal sacrifice business, the same people who wanted to protect patriarchy, their animal sacrifice business, other things too. Very similar to the same people who want to protect a child sacrifice, Epstein class, oil companies, military companies. They're all the same thing. So in that time, they were all the same thing with the people who were threatened by Jesus overturning the money temple. So it's the same thing. And it's the same thing then as today. Today's the modern version of it, or the same thing, 2,000 years worse. But we end it. It was all a trap. Jesus set a trap for these guys, and we're going to spring the trap on them, and then we win and escape. And you guys can appreciate that. There's so many intelligent people here right now that I know that this is being understood, which is awesome. It helps me really feel good about talking. Thanks. Nothing is free. Well, everything will be free. I've got a question for you. What are the last 3 things that will be free? If everything else starts being free, this becomes free and that becomes free and this and that and the other, all those things become free, what would the last 3 things that would be free would be? It's a trick question. Nobody's ever answered it, so think about that for a second. In the future, when everything else is free, what would the last 3 things be? And I'm giving you a clue. It's a trick question. No one's ever answered it. People have come up with answers, but the answers don't really say the answer to the question. They just say something psychological about you. But you're welcome to try. Sin Justa said, it's like a koan. When you read about women in the Bible, such as women helping Jesus, that's usually downplayed or hidden away. Well, hidden away by the traditions, yeah. But read the Gospel of Mary, where she says, everybody heard Jesus say, I'm supposed to be the leader. Everybody's supposed to listen to me. And then Peter was like, no, but I'm a man. Joseph Bearpaw says, the creation of civilization predates the scrolls found in the Mediterranean. There's a lot of civilization way longer than this. DF, hello, what's up? Taco Truck's back. We are having more respectful conversations recently. Just out of curiosity, where do you get your information on religion and the history of it? I pick it up here and there. My family were all preachers and priests. What does MAGA scare? MAGA doesn't scare me. I mean, it's scary to me that they might blow up the world and kill us all. And then they're terrible kidnappers and terrorists. But they don't really scare me as much as I hate them. Vendetta says, try to tell a story and pass it along to 20 persons. The story will be completely different. Well, especially if you have people collecting the story who have an agenda completely the opposite of the originator of the story. That's why Jesus being from the goddess is important. If people have promoted a God idea when Jesus is from the goddess, then they're obviously completely backwards and opposite on certain things than Jesus actually is. Sanjusta says, I kind of believe that the Garden of Eden was previous to agricultural civilization. Does your cortisol spike when you see my comments? Mate, I don't know what that means. Is that good or bad? Cortisol stress, isn't it? Sanjusta says, just ignore the trolls, keep teaching. Thank you. Wow, spot on. No cortisol. Me corazon. You know, words can't hurt you, right? Joseph Pierpont says, even the Bible admits in polytheistic structure, since there was God in collective community, and God's like jealous, and there's other gods that they worry about. But that God, I'm not a big fan of that God. I don't think Jesus was like Jewish like that. I think that within the Jewish traditions, there's this mystical tradition that Jesus was also aware of, or, you know, it's true, so Jesus was aware of it. But that same mystical tradition is the mystical tradition within all religions. Few words hurt your tender butthole. Nothing is free, not even water. Everything's free in the future. Can anybody answer that question? That koan? What will be the last? Okay, somebody answered the question. Here we go. Dude, don't listen to Tyler. Whatever Tyler says, we're not listening to him. Tyler's terrible. Sin to Juice says, people, housing, faith are the last 3 things that would be free, that you would have to pay for. That's the question. Everything else is free. So what would be the last 3 things that you use money for? People, like for work, to hire workers, and then people would still have to pay rent or buy housing, and then people would pay money to churches. I mean, that's an interesting answer to the question. I think if you really think about it, why? You know, why? If there are only 3 things that people paid for, why would we still even pay for those things? I mean, if you're getting rid of things one by one, if you're making things free one by one, then there would be a last 3 things. And I don't know, your answer seems pretty good. Work, housing, faith. That makes some sense that those things would still hold on the longest. 2 Kings, for instance. I don't know the Bible like that, dude. You can't just say a verse and I'll know what it means. Absolutely love Gnosticism. Well, welcome. This is the Church of Judas. This is the transition from Christianity to a Jesus religion. Like, I call it the Church of Judas because when Jesus told Judas the plan, he says, you're going to be hated. You're going to be kept outside of all Christianity. And then you'll return and you'll replace all their churches. Your church will replace all their churches. I don't know if he says he'll return. I don't know if that's really indicated, or if it's just kind of like, yeah, even though this won't happen for 2,000 years, know that 2,000 years in the future, your church will replace all the Christian churches. Isn't it beautiful that we have those two comments next to each other? I absolutely love Gnosticism. How are MAGA kidnappers? It's like the truth and the lie. Okay. Credential commentary always has good commentaries. I don't. How do you get to be credential commentary? I've been commenting on your last live streams, but I don't think you saw them because YouTube BS shadow ban. Let me look at all your stuff. Let me look at all your stuff, credential live stream, because you've always got good stuff. I'll be right back to look at your stuff. I'm just gonna catch up. Whoa, whoa! A lot of people have caught. Yeah, let me just read your stuff now, because a lot of other people have commented, and credential commentary has classic comments, as you might have guessed from their name. I don't know if you put in your spin. Channel activities, credential commentary. Oh my gosh, how far back should I go? You do have a lot of comments. The Epstein War continues for a 6th day. The Epstein War continues for a 6th day. They're calling it the Epstein War. Remember, it's called the Epstein War. Hold on, credential. Let me read some more. I just wanted to highlight the intro. Here we go. Let me read the more recent ones and see what you said recently. Saving Private Netanyahu. We did get that today. Ayatollah Khomeini is considered a martyr by his people. Yes, I think we keep making martyrs, and martyrs always beat tyrants, but tyrants are too stupid to stop making martyrs, and they're evil and bad. Hope all is good, Puffin. Yes, hello, sir. Trump is a traitor and a pedophile. Yes. America and Israel underestimated Iran, who prepared for this war for 20 years, and Iran's winning the war, and Iranians and Americans are going to unite against our common enemy, Trump, Putin, Netanyahu. As I call him, Trump, Putin, Netanyahu. Iran said anyone passing through the Strait of Hormuz has to pay tariffs, and I think they're making good money off that. And the only people they're not letting through are American and Israeli ships, is my understanding. Trump is on the highway to hell. Iran versus the Epstein coalition. And Iran wins. Again, it's us. It's not just Iran. Americans are on the side of Iran against the Epstein coalition. We got no love for the Epstein class in America. We got people duped into supporting them. Yeah, idiots. But America, especially as we all kind of wake up to it, we hate that shit, dude. We hate it all so much. We hate it just for being rich, even if they weren't doing the sicko stuff. Just for being rich assholes, we really do hate that. But yeah, especially when you add the sicko stuff to it. Let me see what other comments you've had recently, credential commentary. I really love your commentary, so thank you for being here. Let's look at one of your last one. Cat Abigazali. Yeah, that was good. Help Cat Save USA. So I haven't seen you that much recently, but you've seen the latest AI Netanyahu ring video. Yes, Cat Abigazali, Cat Abigazali. 2 billion Muslims in the world, get over it. I love that comment. Chester McFly, that shit you smoking is rotting your brain. His ring on his fingers disappears into thin air. Why don't you relocate Israelis to Europe or America? Puffin for president, thanks. I'm only in the race until Jasmine Crockett announces, though. Palestinians are the indigenous people of that land. Israel should be a country on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, away from the rest of the world. Simp for Trump, Trump bootlicker. Trump is in the Epstein files. Trump was Epstein's best friend. Trump unalived 170 innocent Iranian schoolgirls. And it's for those martyrs and all the other martyrs that we're on team Iran, America. Trump, the child rapist. So the thing is, we're on team Iran, America. Americans, real Americans, are on team Iran. Okay? And we want all Iranians to know that. Yeah, I don't care about the government. Like, I'm against evil governments. If it's an evil government, I'm against that. But that's something to be worked out internally. And not our business. And y'all were working it out, as best as my understanding. Y'all were going to win. The people were going to win. But I don't even care how bad the government is. You're not doing somebody a favor by bombing governments and killing a bunch of innocent people to kill government people. So I'm not for that whatsoever. And I think we should have, you know, retribution and reconciliation, and that in a way our countries have become kind of united in this by this stupid war. Um, because we owe you, or we like, we're gonna have to repair your stuff, kind of like Israel should be doing for Gaza. They should be repairing all their stuff. You know, like using half of their wealth and resource potential to repair all their stuff. I mean, I appreciate the idea of needing a moderator, but they don't. If you don't read their comments, they really don't affect you. And I only read their comments if I don't have good people here. Optimistic Taco Truck is a MAGA as far as I know, but I'll read his comments now because we had a respectful conversation last time. He says there is a difference between Iran and Iranian people that encompasses all nations. Yeah, everybody's not quite their government, but wasn't the goal for everybody to be their government? Like, isn't that the democracy goal? Why are we so far away from our government here in America? And I think we're far enough away from our government that we can, apologize for our government. They don't represent us. Um, if they represent you, then you need to change because they're not good. Joseph says, how were Roman soldiers paid by Rome? In what manner was the soldier paid? Historical question. I don't know. I assume money. I respect others. I just don't respect MAGA. I'm on the side of the Iranian people. Not when you say not the Islamic regime, I'm on the side of the Islamic regime to the extent that you don't just go around bombing people. You know, if it was Putin, I wouldn't have a problem with it. You don't go around kidnapping people. You don't go around bombing people. Yeah, if it was Putin, if it was Trump, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If it's Netanyahu, I don't have a problem with it. But when it's just anybody else, anybody beneath that, even freaking like Orban or somebody. I mean, maybe some of those people are worse than I know. But yeah, like it's just there's been the top three evil bad guys: Putin, Trump, and Netanyahu for years. Nobody else even seems to come close. And from my perspective, Putin runs the other two. They're just like they're his little, commanders or whatever you want to call it. So it's Putin, you know, but the other two are just as bad, or bad in their own ways. And we just get to a world beyond those guys. They're old too, or dead. Some of them seem very credibly dead. Vendetta says, we don't want Nazi scum here, but they keep incriminating themselves. Yeah, that's the thing. And not that there's ever going to be any justice or anybody's ever going to track them down. I have this idea that the Nazi hunters, find this channel and hunt down the Nazis who kept trying to Nazi it up. But, it's just kind of justice. It's just kind of knowing that they're always lying. They're always full of shit. They're always on the same side. They all think Netanyahu's alive. They're always wrong and lying. Credential says, I still want America to be the world superpower, but not with lunatic Trump in charge. I don't know if I believe in superpowers. I mean, I see what you're saying. That we could be a good country to kind of be setting a standard for the world. Like, ideally, we could be. But I don't think we need superpowers or war. I mean, the whole point is there's no war in the future. Again, get in touch with the future. You start imagining the future as you see it. And if the future exists, I can almost promise you it's a good future. A bad future, we just don't exist much longer. Like that, it could be like 2 days from now, either way. But a bad future, we don't exist much longer. So why don't we just envision and access and move towards a good future instead? If the citizens of the U.S. felt left out by both parties, why not create a third, pull the other two away from both? The problem isn't two parties. The problem is having a Nazi party. The Democrats are bad because they're compromised by the Nazi party, but the full-on Nazi party, the Republicans, is the problem. Again, if it was the hopscotchers and the jump ropers, There wouldn't be a problem. But it's the jump ropers and the Nazis, or the hopscotchers and the Nazis. That's a problem. Having a party that's a Nazi party is the problem. Or Klan party, whatever you want to call it, like supremacist party. Having a supremacist party, whether it's Zionists, Klan, Nazis, any of them, that's always a problem. Joseph says, money does not do such. Steel or gold, which is more practical for a weapon. Dude, we're not playing the dictionary Google game. President and peace, oxymoron. I mean, not necessarily. You could have a president. We don't have to continue having a country. We're going to have peace either way. America doesn't, it could be that because America goes away that we have peace. Or we can have peace and America's part of peace. Those things are optional. I don't care either way as long as peace exists. I like America. I'm not against it. But I'm also kind of done with, I'm kind of over it if it's going to be like this. We've kind of shown we don't deserve to be a country if we're going to be like this. But we could fix it, We just better fix it soon because we keep making more damage. And that's why I feel like accessing the future, the post-Trump, post-Putin, post-war, like post-all-war era, is the most effective kind of magic to do. I am a real patriot. I am the real patriot. I support the Constitution, not Trump. Thank you, Uncle. Because have I overlooked your comments? If I overlooked anybody's comments, put a note in the chat. We've only got 3 minutes left of the live. We only go live for an hour. Oh, yeah, they're the guy I thought might be drunk, so I stopped reading all your comments. But you did say Trump is a pedo and a seditious, treasonous, insane. If you like Trump, move to Russia. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Okay, guys. I should have warned you there was going to be a bright flash of light. Okay. But you said I'm as bad as Trump, so I'm going to go ahead and take offense at that. You just said there was something in the Bible of Judas that the church didn't want people to know. Yeah, it's just called the Church of Judas. Check out the hashtag Church of Judas. Enjoy your evening too, Vanetta. Joseph Bearpaw, it's great to see you. Exactly, Cinna. So really gold is for show, not usefulness. Yeah, that's why I have a line in one of my songs. There's too much gold here for us to use. There's too much gold here for us to use. I'm going over these grays with pinks and blues. There's too much gold here for us to use. Yeah, hopefully see you again soon. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate you being here. We're going to focus on the future from now on in the lives because it really does seem to work and bring good people in. So thank y'all for being here. They sing the Full House theme song daily. I don't remember that song. Comparing people to Nazis who were Nazis, I'd correctly identify as Nazis so people know to be ashamed to be that and everyone else knows to hate them and be opposed to anything they say or think. Okay, I think we caught up. Thank y'all for being here. See you guys next time. But we're going to be focused on the future. We're not going to get dragged down by the MAGA Nazis or Klansmen, any of those people, Zionists. We're not going to be dragged down by war in the past. We're going to be in the future where it's peace and love and good. We're going to make that future. This will be the live stream documenting our progress from this war state to the future of peace. And it's going to be Americans and Iranians united against our common enemy, Trump and Putin and Netanyahu. It's going to be all humans united against our common enemy. All humans and all other spirits, all sentient beings united against our common enemy, Trump, Putin, Netanyahu. These are much more constructive conversations than we had in the past. Well, you helped, Taco Truck, because we used to just argue, didn't we? Maybe I had you wrong. Sorry about that. Of course, you turn a blind eye. Hypocrisy is thy name. Well, Trump, Putin, here's your Space Force in the streets, flat earth in the sheets. So I love these streams. It manages the time and is very upfront. Why? Thank you. Loved and live subscribed. Thank you. Hopefully talk again soon. You guys really made it awesome here because I got to talk to you instead of getting distracted and upset by the trolls. So thanks, y'all. Talk to you again soon. Sweet dreams. Goddess bless you, Mary bless you, Mary bless you, Mary bless you, Jesus bless you, Judas bless you. I bless you. Bless yourself.